Hello there, this is Tournament in the Tea Break. It's time to bring you our 5 talking points from round 3 of the Australian Open. A few names we would expect to see, a few we certainly did not, and quite a few shockers along the way. Who is in and who is out? Well, on the men's side, both Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal have pretty much cruised through their draws without dropping a set. Novak Djokovic has also come through into the round of 16, but he was taken to 4 sets by Gael Monfils in the searing temperatures of Friday before the heat did for the Frenchman. He also needed quite a bit of bending and prodding by the trainer in his third round match, which he sailed through, which is not surprising really. He hasn't had proper match play for 6 months, so it's going to take a bit of time for him to adjust. But one big casualty yesterday was Alexander Zverev. Now, while he boasts a couple of Masters titles to his name now, and a spot in the world top 5, the number 4 seed just cannot get it together at the slams when it comes to best of 5. It actually reminds me a little bit of a young Andy Murray who took a long while to get into the habit of slam combat, if you will. I think it will come, but I think he's going to go through a lot of miserable press conferences until he finally gets to grips with how to go about winning a best of 5. But hats off to Hyun Chung. He took out both the Zverev brothers in one slam, but more importantly, he backed up his next gen finals win in Milan. Now, on the women's side, let's just savour what had to be the match of the tournament between Simona Halep and Lauren Davis. I mean, Davis is a right little pocket rocket, and with a still hobbled Halep, this was always going to be a danger match for the world number 1. Davis can get every ball back and then some, and it wasn't a surprise that she took the initiative and took the first set. Halep just looked a little step slow. Again, not surprisingly, that ankle turn was horrific. She put up a great fight, and in the final set, though, it was ridiculous in its quality. Finally, though, toenails falling off, and yes, that is every bit as gruesome as it sounds, did for Davis. A medical timeout before her own serve actually might have disrupted Halep's own rhythm, but it actually did her the world of good. And while Davis had 3 match points, she just couldn't convert, and Halep's experience really told. She just hung in, kept going, and finally and the error came from Davis, and she was through after 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's just amazing. Now, she's going to face Naomi Osaka. The Japanese player took out home hope Ashley Barty in a match that was actually moved from Rod Laver Arena, much to the annoyance of fans who struggled to get on to see their hero. They were pretty annoyed. The announcement didn't really come as a surprise. Otherwise, Federer probably wouldn't have been on till midnight. But it wasn't announced. When it was announced, people found out through Twitter. There wasn't any kind of public service announcement to tell people. It was first come, first served. And it's not easy to get in and out of the courts the way that they're structured at the moment. You get caught in almost like a bottleneck to try and come out of the court. So there are a lot of disgruntled people who really wanted to see Barty. She's immensely popular, and the Australian really should have had her moment on her own court. And as it was, it just felt a little bit anticlimactic that she sort of bowed out so quickly. Most impressive, though, was Angelique Kerber, the former champion, was up in a real potential popcorn match against Maria Sharapova. But the Russian wasn't even at the races. Kerber blitzed her for the loss of just 3 games. I mean, she roared through the first set, allowing her just 1. Sharapova did kind of sort of get back into her groove, but Kerber's form at the moment is just blinding. And it's very hard not to see her deep into the second week. Now, Brits have been falling here and there, and the doubles, well, we've only got Inglot left in the men's doubles now. But Kyle Edmund really seems to come of age. He was also out in that blistering heat of Friday, and he was taken to 5 sets, this time by Nikolaj Basilashvili. Professional sport is meant to hurt, he told us, but really, it was to come through 2 5-set matches in difficult conditions, with all the pressure that's on his shoulders since Andy Murray's withdrawal. He's been very, very impressive. He's got a real solid shot of getting into a slam quarterfinal for the first time. Now, he faces Andreas Seppi in hopefully a much cooler afternoon match on Sunday. We're now getting to the business end of proceedings. So who do we think will be in the quarterfinals? Well, Nadal should be able to handle Diego Schwartzman, despite his contention, as always, that he's playing someone that if he doesn't play his best, he'll be going home. He's sailed through pretty much. I can't see him not getting to the quarters and the semis when he'll really start to begin to face his first tests. Marin Cilic has been doing his usual thing of creeping through the draw under the radar. But one match to watch for sure will be Grigor Dimitrov against Nick Kyrgios. The Aussie has got his head on straight this tournament, and Dimitrov hasn't had the easiest of rides in Melbourne this year. It's almost like he's going back to his must-try game plan, must not deviate from game plan. Oh, game plan doesn't seem to be working. Things are getting tough. I'm sure he is going to work it out. He came so close last year. It was an amazing semi-final against Rafael Nadal. And Nick obviously is going to have the home crowd on his side. He seems to be really enjoying and relishing the prospect of being the great home hope. So that's going to be a round of 16 match to really savour. Obviously Edmund has got a fantastic shot at coming through as well. But in the other half of the draw, Dominic Thiem has also had a tough time in his second round. He was taken to 5. He should find his feet against journeyman Tennis Sangren. Djokovic will have his hands full against Chung, so this could be a tough one for him coming back, and he's already sort of struggling a little bit with niggles and aches and pains. But if the longer it goes on, I think the more you'd favour Djokovic. The two perennial complainers in Fabio Fognini and Thomas Berdych will probably give some poor umpire or other a headache. But Berdych at least seems to have found his groove a little. With Fognini, you never know what you're going to get. That languid style of his could either disrupt and frustrate Berdych or just hand him the match on the platter. Who knows with that one? And of course, we expect Federer to sail into his quarterfinal berth with nary a hair out of place. On the women's side, though, we would have thought that Halep would be toast, but Long John Halep has yarred and pirated her way into 2 more rounds. She might not have to run round quite as much against the heavy ball that she's going to expect from Osaka. Karolina Pliskova has been largely under the radar too. She faces fellow Czech Barbora Strycova, and again, as we've said, on Kerber's form, she might have some resistance from Shea, but I can't see her not reaching the finals at the moment. Our round of 16 to watch, though, is going to be Madison Keys versus Caroline Garcia. Both are really riding high, and again, actually maybe a little under the radar this tournament. That's going to be a decent match that we think you should settle in for. We will be back for the round 4 wrap and a look ahead to the actual quarterfinals. This has been Tournament in a Tea Break for BritWatch Sports, and I'm Ros Sattar.